but it is the music is droning. It is just like and all you see are the tops of people's heads, and I don't know why, but it is such a it kind of goes back to the arena, right? It's one of those shots that you're like, I've never seen anything like this before.
Totally. It's one of those where, like you said earlier in the thing, if you blink, you'll miss it. But it's one of those that makes me think, how did they shoot that?
Welcome back to the Hardpoint, episode number 17. What's
17.
Holy shit. 17. Do we find an athlete?
No.
No. Oh, man.
Funny note,
Stumped
I
again.
went to dinner with my dad tonight, and he listens to all the episodes, and he was the guy that last week for 16 that we said was probably screaming, pounding their dad, saying, Joe Montana, Joe Montana.
Joe Montana.
And we're
Joe
over
Montana. Hey, man, that's straight up. That's his generation. That's his bracket.
I know. I told him, I was like, if it's not this generation, like I've seen them play, or I don't know, like Troy Aikman, somebody who's super obvious to me, it's just not going to register. So it's 17. No, I'm like 0-2.
Are there any like do you remember? I'm trying to think of some that you might know that weren't necessarily like, because I know you're a Cowboys fan. Do you know John Elway's number off the top of your head? You remember John Elway?
I know who he is.
Yeah.
No, I would say. Okay, I'm gonna say 8.
I don't know it.
You don't know? Okay.
No, I'm just asking you if you know it. Sure, 8. Fuck it. I don't know.
You know what? 17. I think Josh Allen is 17. The quarterback for the Bills right now. I think he's 17. I'm gonna lock that answer.
All right, who? Josh Allen?
Josh Allen.
Okay, hang on.
I'm pretty confident about that one.
Josh Allen, number 17. You got it, buddy.
Woo!
Look at that. I just reached out and grabbed that one from thin air, man. I'm proud of you.
Never give up. Never lose hope. Next week will be super easy. Easy.
18. I don't even want to know who it is. I want to be surprised.
Well, are there multiple next week?
Are there multiple 18s that it could be?
Maybe. I mean, one is super obvious, comes to mind for me. There might be multiple, but I only need one. I don't need multiple. So once I get the one, I'm done.
Yeah. I think I only know 2 athletes' numbers by memory, and it's Michael Jordan, who was famously 23, and then Chad Ochocinco, who because his name is his number.
He changed his name to 85 Ochocinco. Dude, I used to love him. He was so cool when he played.
Do you not love him anymore? Is he problematic now or something?
Just kind of out of sight, out of mind, you know?
Yeah.
Irrelevant to me.
Not really making waves anymore.
When we get to episode 85, though, that's who I'm saying. There'll be no other. Man. What if we get there and I'm like, I don't know, somebody random?
Man, that's crazy to think that 85, that's over 2 years, almost 2 years away.
Yeah, if we're doing what we do, 56 a year, or 52. Where'd I get 56?
I don't know.
356, but 52 weeks in a year.
Yeah, it'll take a while. So we'll work our way around.
A year and a half.
Watch, we'll be recording episode, 86, and we'll be like, fuck, we forgot.
Yeah, I know. Shit, remind me.
Episode Ocho Cinco, 2 years ago, we declared it, and we totally forgot. How you doing, buddy?
You know, I've been better. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah?
I've been better.
Is it your body or your heart?
It's my body. It's my body.
So
I feel like
I will tell you, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I will tell you, I don't feel great either. But it is because I ate candy and popcorn in the movie, and I feel like booty after the fact. I ate a whole baggie of Reese's Pieces.
Oh God. Okay, we're gonna get to theater talk. I'm gonna circle back to what I was about to say. On today's show, we're gonna catch up. We're gonna tell you why Josh and I aren't feeling very good right now. We're not gonna do the normal formalities of like, I'm good, man, doing great. How are you? No. We're gonna get to the bottom of how we're feeling. We're gonna talk some Dune 2. Yeah, we're gonna talk some Dune 2. and then we'll do the write-ins. Theater talk. I'm kind of excited to do that.
Yes.
I hurt my back.
What happened, buddy? We haven't talked about this at all. I figure as soon as that happened, you'd be like, buddy, I hurt my back.
It's not the first time it's happened. I don't know what it is. I have a bad lower back. I have issues with it. If it's not just kind of like an everyday, like nagging annoyance, every now and then I will do something to it. And I don't remember, I've done it doing push-ups one time. One time I did it picking up my water bottle. Like it's small things. So this time it was Thursday or Friday. One of those 2 days, Thursday or Friday. I guess Friday was yesterday. Maybe it was Wednesday or Thursday. I'm losing my track of my days. I was in the gym, and I did bench press, which involves minimal lower back. And then I did chest supported rows. And after I got done, I bent over to get my backpack off the ground, and I felt a feeling that I had felt before. It's familiar. It's this sharp pain in my lower back that kind of shoots up my back, and then I can't stand up straight. And the last time this happened, I kept going because I was lifting with somebody. So my ego took over, and we were doing leg day. And this happened like on the first exercise. So I kept going. It was a terrible idea. I couldn't walk for like 2 or 3 days. It was terrible. So this time it happened, and I knew the feeling. And I said, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm going home. That night, whatever evening it was, Taylor got home from work, and I'm in my office. And I try to stand up out of my chair, and I can't. Like, I get up, and I fall back down. And then I fall in a position that hurts. I can't walk. I can't stand up. Can't move. And I'm in pain. Like, in pain, dude. And then that night, I go to, like, brush my teeth. I take my shirt off. And in the mirror, it freaked me out, dude. And it freaked her out, too. I was not straight. My body did this. Right around my midsection. Like, I was crooked. Like, right in my spine in my midsection.
Yo!
I went over and went up. And it freaked me out. And it freaked her out. She said, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And
I'd be like, oh, God.
The don't panic, everything's fine starts going off in your head. Dude, that night, like, getting in bed, 10 out of 10 pain. Getting out of bed, 10 out of 10 pain. And this time I recovered a little bit better. I got a heating pad, ice thing, like the combo. Actually, funny enough, I'm wearing it right now. It's been in the freezer all day, and I got this one that has like a strap, and on the back you can sit there, and
you got that thing on you.
Strap. But I put it on. My recovery's been better, and I think it's because when it happened, I didn't keep working out. Like, I just stopped right there. But that first day was just as bad. She was doing research and, typing stuff like that into Google is, you're never really going to get a straight answer. I mean, anything from like a pinched nerve to a slip disc to a bulge disc to you pulled a muscle to you threw your back out to like, I don't know. I don't know what exactly it is, but I know it was like debilitating, terrible pain. And I told her, the simple act of moving, being able to stand up out of your chair, walk across the house to get something you need or do something you need is something that we all take for granted. Because that day where the thought of standing up and going and filling my water bottle up was, I couldn't do it. I couldn't go do that. And when your like movement is taken away from you, even for a little bit, it makes you realize just, I don't know how good you have it. Just being able to stand up, move about, and not have to think about, this being like a 10-minute thing, hugging the wall all the way down, hunched over, like stopping every so often because you can't move. It's pretty wild. It made me kind of, I don't know.
Gosh,
be
buddy.
Grateful, I guess.
Yeah. No, throwing your back out, which is something I've done quite a few times, man. Maybe not to that degree, honestly, listening back. I've had I've done it a couple of times where it was definitely painful to sleep. There's no position you can sit, whether straight up, reclined.
Right.
I know we'll get to it, but I have to imagine sitting in a 3-hour movie today had to have been probably a challenge for you.
It got uncomfortable. Today's much better than yesterday and was much better than the day before. And luckily these seats recline. I kind of found a comfy position, but even just like shuffling, kind of repositioning yourself is just like, oh man,
it's rough. Yeah,
it is. It really is. So I'm in good spirits. Mentally, I'm doing great, but physically, it sucks on several levels, like not being able to work out, for probably at least a week. And then just not being able to move about freely. Like, I don't know.
So this brings a story. This brings a story to mind, and I'm not going to say it's poetic justice because I don't want you to be hurting, bro. But do you remember that Christmas where we were all at the table at our grandparents' house, and someone passed me a bowl of baked beans? And when I reached out and grabbed that bowl, it threw my back out. And how you were kind of like, really? A bowl of beans? Welcome to hell, motherfucker. That's what I shit for it. That's true. That's true. He was giving, everyone was like, really? A bowl of beans? Like, your grandpa's 87 years old. He can still throw an anvil through a second-story window.
Dude.
Yeah. No, it's part of getting older, man. I don't know what it is. Like, you'll be careful. I've seen you train. I know you're not training all crazy. I have no reason or explanation for why it happens, but when it happens, it sucks.
It does. And the fact that it didn't happen during any sort of like one time this happened, I was doing push-ups in the morning. Same feeling. Couldn't walk for 3 days. Another one, I was in the middle of working out. I was doing leg day, but like in between squat sets, been over to pick my water bottle up. Something happened. Couldn't walk for 3 days. Bending over to pick my backpack up after doing like bench press and rows. Nothing to do with the lower back. Everything's supported. Bend over to pick the backpack up. Shooting pain. Can't walk for 2 days. Like, it's not even in the act of doing something cool like a deadlift or a squat. Like, I don't know. It's really weird. Really, really weird.
I hate that for you, buddy. I hope you will not train until you feel better and maybe get an x-ray.
The funny part is, I'm in sales. I had 2 meetings on Friday that I needed to reschedule because I just called them. I was like, look, I can't walk. Like, can we just push this till next week? And, no big deal. They were both older gentlemen. We've never met face to face. And one of them was like, oh, buddy, no worries at all. That just happens when we start getting old like we are. And so I think he's assuming
us, man.
Yeah, so when I show up like a 29-year-old dude, he's probably going to be very confused. And the other one said something similar like, hey, man, I get it. Back, no joke. It's just what happens to us. And so I'm like,
us old guys.
Both the older guys reacted in the exact same way, like no worries at all. Been there. Just take the time you need. Yeah. And
you're going to pull up and then we're like, your back should be fine, man. You're not even 30. What's the deal? Well, shoot, buddy.
How are you?
Man.
How's your weekend been?
I'm good, man. I've been having a good weekend. The weather, I had a couple down days, man. I guess I'm getting to that point where the gray weather, we had a cold front blow through the region kind of midway through the week. And I got kind of bummed out over it, man. Nothing specific was wrong or anything, but I realized, man, if I don't get a little sunshine, I get kind of weepy. So I was grateful that the sun came out yesterday. I felt much better. Instantly had a better workout at the gym. Just been I don't know, man. I've been not taking as good a care of myself, from a dietary standpoint. My wife bakes a lot now. That's a thing she does. So there's constantly just delicious bread just on hand, never farther than arm's reach. Girl Scout cookies are here right now. They're in the house. Man, I don't know why, but I'm craving carbs. I just want to eat bread. Bread.
That is a midsection's worst enemy is carbs and sugar.
And it's instant bloatage for me. It's instant the pants, because I don't know if you have those pairs of pants that are kind of like borderline, like on a good week they fit, until you have that one thing that makes you just a little bit bloaty, and then suddenly you're having to like. There's no greater shame than having to like situate your belt over the button so it can stay open, so you can fit your fat ass into those pants. I am pushing it on a couple of those pairs of pants, so hopefully this week I can maybe just eat things that are bad for me.
I did that pretty much. We had pizza last night. We had a pizza Friday.
Oh God, yeah, love pizza Friday.
Really good. And then today, man, didn't eat before we left. And then I had a burger, and then went to the movie theater and had a bag of M&Ms and then a lot of popcorn and soda, diet soda at least, you know. And then back home now, so minimal water and just junk food and burgers is like what I put in my body today. And I feel like I just feel full but not like satisfied. You know, just full.
Everything that I ate is still very much. I can sense it right here. Just a big sack of chewed popcorn and liquefied Reese's Pieces, just all kind of in a slurry right here in my central intestine. So, not a great feeling, but worth it. If you go to the theater, you're either one of those like clandestine like snack ninjas who's gonna like line your pockets with old Halloween candy or go to the store and just buy cheaper candy. I'm not going to do that. It's not necessarily, I don't care about the theater or anything, but I'm terrified of getting caught.
Okay. I heard somebody say that their theater checks purses now.
Really?
Which is wild to me. The fact that they're actually going to like look in your purse and make sure you're not bringing snacks in.
I feel like there's a way to kind of like line your purse, or maybe like, you know, I don't know. If I really wanted to do it, I would strap a Snickers to my ankle like it's a 38. You know what I mean? But you gotta want it. You know,
put it under your sack.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Search me now.
Yeah, can you take your hand out of your pants, please, sir? But nah, you gotta. Dude, I don't go to the theater often enough, so I've got to get snacks when I go, man.
Got to get snacks. If you get them at the theater, you're gonna pay for them, though. You're gonna pay for them.
You're definitely Oh, sorry. We got popcorn, 2 waters. My wife got some chicken wings because we didn't have time to like hit a restaurant or anything before the theater, so she was pretty well and truly hungry. And then we found a slow point through the movie where it felt like a good time to go get some more. So I went and got a couple bags of candy and refilled our popcorn bucket, which we did. We ate both buckets. So, man, we ate a lot of shit and it wasn't good for us. So,
dude, going into a movie hungry is tough. And especially
it's probably not
2 hours and 45 minutes. That's an even tougher thing.
Yeah, that's the typical distance between a lunch and a dinner anyway. So like, there's a very good chance you're going to have dual hungry situations in that anyway. And most theaters, like, it used to be like the maximum snackage was going to be like a hot dog or maybe like a crappy pan pizza. But they've got full on, like, you get a ribeye in there now. You get a tomahawk steak if you want.
Yeah. Did you go to a Cinemark or was it a different brand?
I went to an AMC. That's really all we have in our town. We used to have 2 or 3 different theaters, but we're down to the one. So, and it's an AMC brand theater.
We went to it's our favorite theater. It's called Galaxy.
Sure.
And not a lot of people go or are aware of it. And it was the one I was telling you about. It's the Sony DC, and they had this like 4K laser projector. It's one of 2 in the U.S. and one's in this theater. It's incredible, dude. And I've been saying I was going to go see Dune in this theater the whole time, and we went. It's fantastic. But they didn't have the popcorn bucket, so I was thinking it was like a Cinemark thing. Or I know. Bring that thing into focus.
I did secure my...
Dude, put your hand... stick your hand in there.
My Dune-ussy.
How is it like scrape popcorn out of your hands?
It kind of does. We got it... when the popcorn is up at the top, it's nice because you get like a nice little pinch full. these little the teeth of Shai Hulud here are. Yep. I'm sorry, I'm like like diddling this thing. They're like pretty soft, waggy rubber.
Okay.
So you can get your hand in and out with relative ease. But yeah, once the popcorn gets down about an inch, it's just knocking everything out of your hand. So we ended up having to take the topper off and just eat it like normal humans. But
because going in, you can kind of do like the cone hand, to get it in there. But coming out, you got to go you're fisting it out. And
you're doing like a kind of a cloaca type thing where it's like it's nice to have.
Can you just take it off the top?
Yeah, it's literally just like a topper. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Man. But yeah, a little piece of history right there for me.
I'm so glad that's going to go in the Hardpoint studios one day when we get one.
Oh yeah, Hardpoint HQ. That's gonna be our crown jewel there.
They had a different one, but it wasn't with that topper on it. I was like, it's a little disappointing.
Oh no.
When did you buy? Are we morphing into? There was one thing I wanted to ask you about before we got to movie. Are we morphing into movie talk right now?
What do you want to ask me about?
I wanted to ask you about this when you were actually down here, but tell me about this comedy show you're doing.
Oh man. Yeah, there's a guy here locally that there's a couple places to do like open mics and stuff in Lawton, which is kind of surprising because this town's not super like culture-y. I know that's probably
right.
like there's a lot of there's a massive like Comanche Nation presence. So to say there's not culture here is probably problematic, but there's not a lot of like unique nightlife. Like it is very much a go to a restaurant, go to a movie, go to a bar type of town. There's very little outside of that as far as like things to do, nightlife, if that makes sense. But there's a couple bars that do host an open mic night, and one of the guys that goes there is he works here on the base, and he got a couple of my buddies that I've done some content with before, and asked me if I'd like to come and do a set, and it's pretty much I got to do like a 15-minute stand-up set now.
15,
which is
dude, that's a long time.
I have no point of reference. I don't know. If you tell me it's a long time, I'd say, yeah, probably. I don't know. I kind of see it flying by in the moment. So I'm thinking about going and doing some open mic nights just to kind of wet my beak. I think it would be a massive error to make that the comedy show the first time I've been on stage doing stand up.
You are a shoot from the hip type of guy. So
I'm
on brand.
I'm a shoot from the hip guy, and I put the pro in procrastinate. So very high likelihood that what I'm saying I don't want to do right now, I'm going to end up doing. But May 9th at Snow Hall on Fort Sill.
15 minutes is a long.
So you don't like you notoriously don't like public speaking. So I feel like 15 minutes on a stage in front of people for you would feel like a long time.
Are you going to have, are you going to work on material leading up to it, or are you just going to get up there and just...
Oh, I'm writing a set. Absolutely. Okay. I'm not going to go up there and wing it. No, I don't know. No, I've got a set together that's pretty close to done. The problem is I don't want to go to these open mic nights to practice with the material that I'm going to roll out. I don't want to, I don't want to have these people, if they're going to show up to that, get the same show. So I'm going to try to put together a couple different, I think they call them a type 5 in the business, where you have, like a quick 5-minute set where it's like joke, longer story, joke, call it a night.
Feel free to work it out right here, buddy, if you need to.
Some bounce and stuff. Right here. So if I were to do it right now, I would definitely be shooting from the hip and it wouldn't be funny. But it's just another creative medium where you're kind of like trying to, you have to find your voice and figure out
sure.
It's a situation where you're very much like, even if you're playing kind of a nonchalant person, like a Shane Gillis type, you're still playing a character and reading from a script kind of, or at least calling out a script. So I don't really know what I'm like as a stand-up. We'll see, man. I might be ass. I might be fucking terrible at that.
to come watch that whenever it is. I don't remember what the date is.
I'll bring you up, man. And Austin, Mandatory Fun Day, who's another great creator, and then Jared Taylor, who's one of the Black Rifle guys, will be here, and I think Habitual Line Crosser's doing a set as well. So
nice. Cool.
It'll be a who's who, man. Yeah.
It's not that long before I saw that pop up. You told me I'd like to do stand-up one day, and you made it happen. So good on you.
Yeah, it kind of fell in my lap, I guess, man. So we'll see what happens.
I was only saying 15 is long. There's this podcast I listen to, and they've talked about like a punishment being doing stand-up. And somebody said like 5 minutes was kind of the standard time. And somebody suggested 10 or 15. And everybody unanimously was like, that is a lot longer than you think it is. When you just have people like looking at you trying to make you laugh. But you're right. I don't like standing in front of people anyway. So for somebody who that does not make them uncomfortable, maybe it's a different situation.
Like I said, I'm just kind of going with it. No point of reference, man. If it ends up being forever, then next time I'm definitely gonna be like 5. Give me 5, Ben.
If you want me to overlap, just we'll get a cue. You can lick your lips on stage. Yeah, lick your lips on stage if you want me to really.
Yeah.
Really
if you see a hat adjustment, that's time to throw me a couple chuckles. Everybody sucks. Anus. Me and Cody went to the movies today to see a movie that probably everyone's going to be talking about. Everyone's already been talking about, but the society at large will be talking about this week because it just came out the other day. We went and saw Dune 2, and we wanted to talk about it. We both saw it today. I think we literally were walking into the theater within 15 minutes of each other.
Yep.
So it's very much fresh in our mind. I think it's probably better to hit it fresh. But we did want to kind of tee this up. We are doing a spoiler cast. So we are going pretty much front to back. It's based on a book that's been out since the 60s. So it's not necessarily that we are revealing any kind of like earth-shattering plot points or anything. Sure. But we will be talking about specific things in the movie that might have been changed or just the way that they were depicted in the movie. So just a warning, if you haven't seen Dune 2, which is great, I actually recommend seeing it in the theater. Save this episode, put it in your favorites for later. Come back and watch it after you've seen the movie. I'll
timestamp everything anyway. But if you want to skip this part, but you want to watch everything else in the episode, go to the description. Everything will be timestamped down there.
Yeah, beautiful. So anyway, spoiler warning. Engage now. I loved it, man. I enjoyed Dune 2 a lot. My inside flap review is I don't think I was as moved by it as I was with Dune Part 1.
Sure. But
just from a sheer this is a fucking awesome movie standpoint, it was a fucking awesome movie. Like the way it is, everything is depicted, everything from the sound design. There's certain shots that are just kind of blink and you'll miss it, but very impactful and beautiful. I would say on a number rating, we don't have an official like number rating scale, but this is a solid, I'd say an 8 out of 10 for me, for sure.
When's the last time that you saw the first one?
I watched it on the plane ride back from North Carolina a couple weeks ago. Okay. So, and I've read the first book. I've seen the first movie several times. And I would say I would rate that one at probably a 9.5 out of 10. Only because that was a movie that walking out of the theater, I immediately wanted to go back over and purchase another ticket. That's just how hard I was thinking about that movie after I saw it. And I got to be honest, this is one where I don't think I would do that. Not that it was bad, it just didn't hit me for some reason the same way Dune Part 1 did. I would absolutely watch it again, maybe on when it comes to streaming or whatever. But it was awesome enough, and it's kind of good where it's at for me. I don't know. How'd you feel about it?
I liked it. I really wish the first time I saw Dune 1, we've discussed this. I was late to the whole Dune party. I think I saw it, man, sometime last year for the first time. I don't remember when it first came out.
Right.
And I was like super stoked on it. And to the point where I was like, man, Dune 2 is coming out. I can't wait for this. And it kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed. And to the point where I
Yes.
kind of forgot about Dune 1. I didn't really care. This weekend snuck up on me. We talked about seeing it together. And it was, I think Taylor, my mom texted me like Thursday. And they're like, Dune comes out this weekend. I was like, this weekend? Because in my mind, it's just been so far out there this whole time. And then it's just on you. And I was like, well,
Yeah.
Whatever. We didn't have plans or anything like that. We watched the first one again last night. I wanted it to be fresh in my brain.
Nice.
And I really liked the second one. I wish I could have seen it closer to when I was like super stoked on the first one the first time.
Right.
Because I feel like I had to try and make myself stoked on Dune to go see this one instead of just like I saw Dune 1 and was naturally stoked on it. Like trying to get excited for something versus just being excited about something is very different to me. So I think this movie might have been more impactful had I seen it when it was supposed to come out even, whatever. That's kind of neither here nor there, but I don't know.
So let me ask you this. In your rewatch of Dune 1, because I will say as great a movie as I found that when it came out in 2021, I think, the diminishing returns thing was very real with that movie. I think going back, I've seen it probably about 5 times all the way through. And by that 5th time, I was kind of like, yeah, all right.
I was trying to remember back to the first time I watched it. Like, why was I so stoked on this movie? Not that I didn't enjoy it last night, but it was not like I wasn't just blown away by it. I was trying to remember back, like, what were the reasons that I was so hyped on that movie? And even rewatching it last night didn't hit me nearly as much. And even like just now, I'm sitting here trying to remember back. But I think I remember thinking it's kind of Star Wars-esque, but it's like way more serious and it's way darker. And like the overall tone of it is it's just very dark and very serious. Whereas Star Wars from times can kind of have that lighthearted, goofy, like whatever. Like this is just, there's no smiling, there's no laughing, it's hardly any happy. Like it is just a fucking serious movie. And I think that was part of it.
Sure.
I think the way that it was shot. I remember like the complexity of just all the politics and the houses and the, just the backstory of everything was really intriguing to me. All that's kind of a long way to say that I enjoyed it last night. I understood it a lot more. The first time I loved it, but they throw a lot of names at you, and the moment that you miss what this is or that is, and even like watching it the first time, Atreides, the family name, and Arrakis, not so dissimilar where if you've never heard either of those, you might not get, could possibly get those confused.
Yeah.
They're both weird names. And I remember the first time getting those like, it's 2 totally different things, but those words could be more different to me.
Yeah. So you got Atreides, which is kind of like the main family. Then you got Arrakis, which is the planet.
Right.
That's Dune, right? And then the city where they go in the first movie is called Arrakeen, which is also another A word where you're like, huh? Well, there's a lot to keep up with.
What's the 8? What's the 8?
The Harkonnens. The Harkonnens,
yeah. All just really weird words, and they throw them around and expect you to remember and know what's going on. And so that was one thing I got way more out of the second watch is I understood it more. And there was no chance I could have seen Dune 2 today without that watch last night. And I was locked in. I was ready to go. I really liked it. I liked that it kind of picked up for the most part.
Almost exactly where the first movie,
threw you right into the action, and man,
I will I was going to say that the opening segment of Dune 2 might be one of its strongest points. There is a very, very cool kind of like stealth action, which morphs into kind of like a thriller section where it's basically they're hiding from the people who are hunting them in the desert. Mm-hmm. That is, it's everything's like orange because, the sun's kind of like setting for that day. It's shot really cool. And it definitely, the tension right out of the gate in Dune 2 is very like, holy shit. You know what I mean? So sorry, what were we going to say?
It felt similar to the first movie in that, like the high points, the big set pieces are really cool. It also has some kind of slow, like, okay, like each movie had these slow, low points where you're like, all right, I'm ready to get to the next cool thing. One thing with that said, I feel like the second movie's high points were a little cooler to me. You had more worm. The part towards the end where like the Emperor had brought his entire army and it was like all that like chrome, that big chrome ship or whatever.
Absolutely.
And they fired those like those atomic missiles at like that whole scene was pretty crazy.
That was good. I think my favorite was seeing like an actual scene dedicated to how the Fremen kind of attack and harass the Harkonnens while they're harvesting the spice, and they have that kind of like the bazooka thing, and they're hiding under the big crawler thing, right? And they've got the Harkonnens have this kind of the Thopter thing that's kind of like doing Overwatch and is just like mowing down these Fremen guys.
Yeah.
So the main characters kind of hide up under one of the legs. Paul kind of runs off and does this like fade kind of like distraction maneuver, and then you see the scope on the weapon, the door gunner, right? He looks back at Chani, the girl, Zendaya's character, and she's not even shooting at him. She's putting her weapon down and running, and he looks to the left, and you can see the actual bullet has already bored through their shield. And then just the way it explodes, it like fills up their shield with explosion. You know what I mean?
That whole scene was really, really cool, really tense. With the arm, like that point where it starts to lift up, and they're running behind the arm as it's moving forward, and the chopper is trying to find them, and they're running with that arm, and then it sets down cool. again, and it was... that was very cool. Whatever those bad guys are that can like levitate, and they have you can't see their faces.
So those would be like those were Harkonnen actually. There's the other ones from the first movie that don't feature as heavily in this movie, which are the Sardaukar. Those are the ones on the weird like rainy planet where they're like sacrificing people, and the dude's doing the fucking the chant, right? The throat singing. Those are the hamburger, cheeseburger, Whopper, So that's like the Emperor's like private army, and it's supposed to be very taboo that he sent them actually to kill all the Atreides because he's not
he sent like a couple battalions. They were the ones that killed Duncan in the first movie, right?
Yes. And I think there's that moment towards the end where they kind of capture the Emperor and his little entourage or whatever, and Paul is immediately like killed a Sardaukar, like just like cold as hell. That is another thing I want to talk about for a second is a lot of people poo-poo on Timothée Chalamet, and he's been in some goofy movies. I ain't watching that Willy Wonka movie to save my life for sure. But that dude fucking rocks in this movie, man. He starts out, he's just kind of, he kind of begrudges everything that he knows he's kind of being pointed towards, which is being the Messiah for these people. He doesn't want to do that. There's a moment where he kind of accepts it, and he undergoes the transition, and he is, from that moment on for the rest of the movie, he is playing a completely different character than he has through the first movie and the first half of the second movie. And it is chilling how cold and truly just kind of power hungry he becomes at that moment.
It's that part where he's in front of all the houses or whatever, and it's right after he drinks that stuff, and he walks up there. He's like, none of you can take me on, or none of you will stand against me, or whatever. And he convinces each of them, like, you do, whatever he was doing. That part was pretty cool. There's a couple parts too where he's like screaming at somebody or doing something, and I'm like, he can definitely just turn it on.
It's already like a viral TikTok audio of him at the very end when he's about to fight Fade Ralpha. And the witch is telling him, like, you don't know what you're about to do. And he looks at her, he goes, silence! And she just kind of like faints almost. Like that part, I'm kind of like, it's chilling, but it's also kind of badass. But Yeah.
That was one of the cool. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That was cool. That, to bring it back a little bit more towards the middle of the movie, what is that character? The bald, the guy that took over the
That's
cousin?
so Fade Routha, played by Austin Butler. He is Baron Harkonnen's nephew.
Right. So when he kind of gets like,
I was gonna say he does a terrific job.
he was an awesome character. I thought one of the coolest in the movie when he gets introduced and he's in that giant like arena fighting the last of the Atreides. Dude, like, one, it looked weird. Like, everything was whited out. It was very strange looking. But he looks cool. You want to talk about heartless, dude, and cold. Like, when they were showing him those blades, and he picked that one up and to test it.
Fucking girl's throat, man. And doesn't even look at her. He just kind of, like, whips it around. Yeah. It's God. Oh, man. He's truly, just a terrifying person. That arena scene is so interesting to me because you really get this sense of like it's the first time you're seeing like how the Harkonnens kind of behave as a society, and just the sense of scale. Like just that whole arena is so odd looking. You got the dudes who have like the weird like axe blade hats that are kind of like they're like the
referees or something.
I guess, yeah, but they are very strange looking, very odd. But yeah, everything about that scene is very, very cool in a way that's like there's nothing like that. I don't know. It's hard to describe.
It made me think. This is kind of like. This sounds like a stoner thought. It made me think like. Whoever they were depicting in that world, everybody in the audience. What we were seeing was normal to them. That's just how everything looks. That's the way they live.
Sure.
It made me think, like, if you brought somebody from, I don't know, like the 1500s or the 16, 17, 1800s and dropped them into a, like, modern NFL game, how strange what was on screen looked to us. Would something like that, would they just look and be like, this can't be anybody's reality. This is so strange and so weird. What is that? What is he doing? Why does that look that? Why is this the way that it is? It just made me view something that I'm like, I feel like something that we have today that is normal to us, you could drop somebody else in from a different time period and it would look similar to them as to what that movie part looked to us. Does that make sense?
Well, yes, absolutely. And then like add to that just the way we kind of depict that. I've never been to I've been to a baseball game, but I've never been to a professional football game before. I've never been to like an NFL game. Imagine showing them a 60 frame per second 4K broadcast, which is it's depicting something faster and with more clarity than the human eye typically perceives. Right. Now what they're watching is truly alien looking. Yes. And it is actually a very good allegory of like something that we see and do every day that's an integrated part of our society that is actually, if you knew nothing about it, if you were a pilgrim from the 1800s or 1600s, whatever, you would be highly baffled by it. It probably mirrors that Harkonnen scene.
It would look similar to how we view that today. Just that is so strange looking. Yeah, I don't know. That's what it had me looking like. I didn't know that was Austin Butler till after the movie. He did a great job, man. Gosh.
Yeah, it had kind of come out before the movie even debuted, but he worked with a vocal coach so that he could sound exactly like Stellan Skarsgård, who plays the Baron, but his voice is basically modeled to sound like his uncle, which is I thought he did fantastic at sounding like Stellan Skarsgård.
There were a couple times where he was talking and the camera wasn't showing him, and I didn't realize that was him talking. And then it panned to him. I was like, wow, like for a little bit that voice does not match what you see. But yeah, by the end of it, it was really cool. I thought his character, that fight at the end between him and Paul.
I was about to say, my feet were like moving around, dude. I was like, ugh.
Dude, like something, the sound design and like every hit had such a thud to it,
impact,
so much weight.
Yes.
And
Yes,
dude,
man.
it's one of
And
the best,
when their knives would clash, even it was kind of like this almost alien clang of like, you know, it was that was really cool.
It was one of the best like hand-to-hand combat scenes I feel like I've ever seen. It was awesome.
Absolutely.
And did you think that?
Absolutely.
I don't know if do you know how the story goes outside of it? Like I thought that he might actually be dying when he got stabbed. I was like, oh fuck, no way.
So actually, in the book, if I remember correctly, he just kind of kicked Fades Ralph's ass. He doesn't take damage that I remember. He doesn't. There's no like him nursing a stab wound or anything like that. Like he dead ass, just like they have the whole like may thy knife chip and shatter exchange, and then he just beats him. And that
it's not good.
I haven't
for
seen
movies,
the No, I haven't seen the 1984 Dune in several years either. But to my knowledge, it's he just kicks his ass, just beats him.
I love how when they do that, they do this, and then do this with the blade. I think it's kind of cool.
Yep. There's a lot of callbacks to like just the first movie and. Man, I'm trying to think. I want to say my weakest character throughout the whole movie has got to be Batista. Just his character throughout the whole movie. Not that he's bad. I don't think Batista's a bad actor, and I'm not trying to poo-poo him or anything. But I don't know. Like just in a cast like this that is stacked, super stacked. It's just I don't know, man. I really feel like he's kind of outgamed a little bit. I don't know. That he just doesn't have a scene to me that's like. He's not overdoing it a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a lot of screaming. He's always just like yelling at the top of his lungs. I think they're trying to portray him kind of being desperate. Like clearly he's scared of the Baron, even though it's his uncle.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where it's like everybody else is scared of him, but you know he has to go answer to somebody, so that's why he is the way that he is. And so it just. He reeks of desperation and fear of like, if I don't get this done, like uncle or not, like that dude's going to fucking kill me or do something, you know? But it is, some of the scenes are a little like kind of over the top a little bit.
But it, all in all, like it's very, for the most part, it's pretty faithful to the book. It's not, there's no like massive changes. A lot of the stuff they left out that I remember from the book, I was kind of glad that they kind of dumped it on the floor. I think some of the changes they made with Zendaya's character were interesting. I think they kind of plussed in the book. She kind of just like he leaves, you know, to go basically be the emperor, and she just kind of goes with it. She doesn't really. They don't really discuss like her being brokenhearted or the whole part of her seeing that he's turning into a problem and that people shouldn't be worshiping him. Doesn't really happen in the book. So I think it's interesting that they kind of use Zendaya to kind of represent the audience being like, this is not good. Like we don't want to be in this cult that's forming around us. So
that's interesting.
I like that they kind of empowered her to walk away from that in a weird way.
I agree. Yeah, that's good. I didn't know that was different from the book. What happens? Yeah. Was this setting up for another movie? Clearly, like.
So from a like cleared hot make another movie standpoint, I have no idea. So there's several books, right?
Right.
I don't know if they're going to keep it going or if this is meant to be kind of just like it alludes to like movies that aren't going to come, and they're just saying like, and you know, so and so is going to happen, and so this and that, and then the rest. What
was she doing at the end? Was she going to hop on that worm, or was she trying to like kill herself? Like what was she doing there?
No. So I've only read the first book, and I don't know if Chani ends up going on to do anything crazy. But in my understanding, her getting on the sandworm and riding, because she's essentially just like leaving. She's leaving. She realizes her people are lost. They are taken by this Messiah. You know, they're pretty much everyone around her. Even Josh Brolin's character at the end, like he is not necessarily even a Fremen or believes the Fremen religion, but he is also just fully committed to the myth and the legend of Paul at this point. So she sees that even she's kind of lost any faith in anyone around her that could talk some sense into him. So
the one thing they did not answer, And I was thinking this when Paul rode his worm for the first time. How do they get off those worms? Like, how do you get off?
They just like, whoa, like,
whoa, boy.
easy,
Yeah, and
yeah,
like,
yeah.
those things don't look like they ever stop or slow down. You never see anybody getting off one, or like. That was my first thought. Is okay. How do you get off?
I didn't think about that until you said that. But like, I mean, at best, like you're just tucking and rolling, right? I mean,
yeah, that was a pretty intense scene. Was him trying to ride that thing for the first time.
That scene fucking ruled, man. That was probably that, and the scene where they fight the Harkonnen crawler or whatever. Those two scenes when he rides, because it's so like they did such a good job of portraying how violent and terrible that would be for a few seconds.
Yeah.
But once he kind of breaks through the sand, he's finally got both of his little hooky things in, and he starts to kind of slowly stand up, and you hear the quintessential doing the when he's doing that, and then everyone kind of comes to their feet, and they're like, he's the chosen one or whatever. That was pretty fucking awesome. I enjoyed that.
That was cool. I thought the whole them turning out to be what's the H word again? Harkonnen?
The Harkonnen.
Harkonnen. Him actually, like how the Baron was his mom's dad? Is that what it was?
Yeah. I that may be in the book. Again, Dune is one of those that there's so much in there. It's very dense. I don't remember that part in the book.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I don't know if that was super important. I think him killing the Baron because the Baron killed his dad makes more sense to me.
That whole thing confused me because they really kind of glossed over it. Like, it's a big thing, and I thought that it was going to be one of these, like, nobody can find out because they're the bad guys. And if they found out that we are that would be an issue. And they don't seem to try and hide it at all. Nobody asks them about it. They don't really address it. Like, they just they discover it. And then when he goes to fight that guy, he's like, hey, cousin. And then when he kills the Baron, he says, whatever. But it's never really, like, a thing.
Right.
But it is a big deal. It seems like it would be. They just didn't do anything with it.
Yeah. That to me, I don't know. Color me surprised that even made it into the final cut, because it's just, at a movie this dense, like, I would imagine by the end they're trying to trim some of the fat. The one last thing I will say, even though they didn't give him as much to chew on as I thought they were, but I loved seeing Christopher Walken play the Emperor. I think he plays that role of kind of a regal old man very well. Yeah. He's very sinister, but also like just a naivety that Paul would kneel and kiss his feet, is kind of, it's a good kind of foil for Paul's character. So I like seeing my man still out there playing guys like this.
I thought it was interesting that he wasn't in the first movie at all. They just kind of like allude to the Emperor, but he's not in it. Like, they don't show him; they just talk about him.
Right. Yeah. I think it works. I think in the book, the Emperor doesn't really begin to feature until about halfway through, anyway. So
it's weird because I think Oh, go ahead. I cut you off.
Well, no, I was going to say it makes sense that he would kind of pop up at the beginning of this movie. It's kind of a natural point for the story.
Yeah, last night when we finished the first one, on the suggested, it was Dune from 1984. And I was like, I just want to see what that looks like. And I popped it on, and the first person you actually see is the Emperor. Yeah. And a couple of things that I noticed from that were these newer movies, they don't hold your hand too much. They kind of allude to things and expect you to follow along. That movie flat out, like in between scenes, there's somebody just like telling you like, this is what's happening and this is why. Like, it's way more explained in that
so
one.
that's the 1984 version tries to do something that the book does, which is between every chapter of Dune, there is kind of a so they kind of show it in Dune 2, right, where what's her name, the blonde-haired chick, Princess Irulan in the movie. I can't remember her actress's name. Florence Pugh, whatever it is. Pugh. Anyway, yeah. She's kind of recording these like a memoir almost. those are interjected in between chapters in the book. So she will give kind of like some exposition that either explains something in the previous chapter or tease up something in the coming chapter. The 1984 movie kind of does that just as the book would do it. This one just kind of shows her doing that, but it's not necessarily the handrail for the movie the way it is in 1984. So
yeah, when they show the Emperor, he explains like, I'm sending Atreides to this planet because they're becoming too powerful and I need to kill them. Like, I watched 10 minutes of it and I understood more about what was going on with the story than like the whole first movie. The shields in that movie, do you remember what they look like, dude?
Yes, they look like Minecraft characters, man. Dude, it's bonkers to me.
I almost threw my remote last night when that came on. I was like, no way is that what it looks like.
It looks real bad, man. It's so funny. So weird. I don't know, like, and there's a whole lot of weird added elements that, you know, I don't know. I don't love the 1984 version. It's a funny watch. Yeah, but it's definitely not like it's hard to take it serious.
I feel it was so out of place. They could have just made them kind of glow or something. They did not need to throw that Lego looking shit. Like whatever it was, dude. It was so funny looking.
I don't know, man. I wasn't alive. I wasn't a thought yet. I have to imagine 1984 me would have still been like, that looks like shit.
There's no, even in Star Wars, like the ones that were made before that, I feel like didn't have anything that bad looking. Like it was like, what are we doing here?
That's pretty. I don't know if someone just tried to go direct from how they understood it from the book and was like, this is how that would look, right? It's no. Maybe the book didn't get everything right. Yeah. And maybe we don't need to just go. I like the way they do shields in the new movies. It makes more sense to me.
I think it's cool. I think 2 thumbs up, man. I really liked it. It's interesting doing this like right on the heels of seeing it, because sometimes a movie needs to digest and you think about it, and you know, sometimes a day or two you feel differently. So this is more like initial impressions than a review, even, because we
for sure
walked out of the theater like 2 hours ago. So maybe, you know, I really liked it. I think it lived up to everything I wanted it to be. It had the stand up out of your seat moments. You know, the story was
absolutely
good. It followed the book. You know, it's not like it did anything crazy, but I loved it. I loved everything about it.
I'll be interested because I love a good saga. You know, like my wife and I will watch through like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings occasionally. Mm-hmm. You could definitely see us doing a Dune 1 and 2 watch through at some point.
The music is an honorable mention in this movie as well.
Oh, God,
got a great soundtrack. There was one part towards the end where it's like, as it was happening, I was like, this is my favorite part of the movie so far. And, of course, sitting here, I can hardly remember what it was. But I think it's when he was, like, marching. Like, it was towards the end when the war was leading up, I believe. Everybody was kind of getting ready for it. And there was just, like, synthy, like, drums and just this crazy soundtrack over this. Just all these visuals. I was like, dude, this is awesome.
It the one where he's kind of walking through the crowd, and at one point, the shot, but at one point the shot is like a top down, like a bird's eye view, and Paul is kind of walking through this crowd of people who he's effectively like are under his spell, right? But the scene is filled with the tops of people's heads, and you only see this one shot kind of moving right down the middle. But it is the music is droning. It is just like and all you see are the tops of people's heads. And I don't know why, but it is such a it kind of goes back to the arena, right? It's one of those shots that you're like, I've never seen anything like this before.
It's one of those where, like you said earlier in the thing, if you blink, you'll miss it. But it's one of those that makes me think, how did they shoot that, for one? Like, if you're actually packing that many people that tightly, imagine being one of those people. Like, this kind of sucks. Just knowing how long it takes to, I don't know, dude. Like, I was in this is a wholly different story. I was in a commercial one time, and you wouldn't believe for 20 seconds how many hours it takes to, like, acquire that, right? And so I just imagine being one of those people in that, if that's how they actually shot it. You're right, brim to brim. As tightly as people could be packed, and then just you see him moving through. And it's only like a 3 or 4 second scene, but it's so crazy looking. That whole
it is, man.
with the music swelling and just that whole, like, I don't know, 60 seconds of the movie, and a movie filled with really cool shit was one of the coolest parts of the whole movie to me.
There's a lot of just like very quick, very almost like they could have not put it in and I wouldn't even notice. There's a shot where he looks up at the sun and like the two moons are passing in front of it, so it's like this kind of weird crescent shape that's just like it's an orange screen and then just the sun that's kind of being crested by these two moons. It looks so fucking cool, man. But
there was one earlier in the movie. It was the Harkonnen. It was one of the the first scene, and it's when the worm's coming. They attracted the worm, and they're like, all right, jump. They're going to the top of that rock, and it pans out, and you see all them like kind of scaling up the side of that mountain, and they're all in a row, just moving up it. I was like, that's a crazy shot right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, all in all, man, I'm really impressed by it. Like I said, it definitely didn't hit me like the first movie did. But yeah, 2 thumbs up, and like I said, that's one I think that we will add to our let's watch the saga or the trilogy type movies. Like it'd be fun to watch them back to back, no breaks in between.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of did that. We watched all but the last hour last night, and then got a little sleepy. We actually watched the last hour this morning, so I went.
Oh, okay.
Save for like finishing it and going straight to the theater. I basically did a back to back, and it's great. It's really, really cool.
Nice. Yeah.
When do you think when do you think they had that filmed and ready? Like, do you think there's any graphical or CGI jump whatsoever from the second movie to the first one?
So the first one came out like kind of smack in the middle of like the COVID years, and they were not greenlit for a second movie, and no one knew that they were doing a 2-parter. Like everyone thought they were getting the whole Dune story when the first movie came out. So it's kind of actually, they kind of lucked out getting greenlit for the second movie, in my opinion. Yeah. I don't think it's necessarily a jump, but I don't think they relied too heavily on things that looked cool in the first movie. Mm-hmm. Like the sandworm scene where he rides the sandworm finally. That is not even necessarily technologically better than the first movie, but it's just unique to this movie in a way that's like that happens one time in both movies in this one specific spot. So it doesn't feel like there was a jump. I actually felt like I liked the music less in this one. It just didn't feel as, I don't know, the Dune 1 soundtrack and I know a lot of it's probably just the same passages, maybe changed a little bit. But yeah, the music didn't jump out at me as much in the second one. But I mean, overall, the music is beautiful in Dune. But
well, the Hardpoint recommends. Go check it out.
Dune 2.
Check it out.
Dune Part 2. Yeah, get you a bucket.
Oh no, I'm not even gonna mention it. That picture I sent you was so funny though. Wait, did I? I did send it to you, right, with the shirt.
Oh yeah, I posted a picture of this one on Instagram, and people went full blown like, "You're fucking the popcorn bucket, aren't you?" So I'm not gonna do that, but I could if I wanted to.
All right.
All right, we're going to do a couple write-ins here. We talked for Dune. We talked about Dune for a long time, so we'll just hit a couple here. But yeah, make sure join the Hardpoint Discord, and we've got a channel specially dedicated for questions for the podcast. You can come here, ask a question. We might answer it on the show. Who knows? Got a couple. You might get read. Got a couple here from our good pal Cool Boy 32, who writes in on a quite a regular basis, which we love. Frequent caller, frequent writer, right? What do they say? I don't know what they say.
A frequenter.
All right. If you could own the outfit from one character from any franchise, what would it be and why?
Batman.
Batman, yeah? Which Batman? Because I think I already have my answer, but I don't want to see what yours is.
I don't know. I said that really quickly. I feel like, I don't know, man. Give me the new one was pretty cool. The new. What's the newest Batman?
The Pattinson one, right? The Batman.
That one, the Batman. That one was pretty sick. Give me that one.
That was. I don't like his cowl. I don't like the part that goes on his head. The cowl is this part, the bat part, right? I don't like his top part as much. It's too round and the ears are kind of pointy, like too pointy.
Does it have
I get
the
that they
short
wanted
ears?
to. No, that's Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck's got the kind of like shorter.
Dumb looking to me.
That one looks like they maybe tried to go a little too comic booky.
Yeah.
It looks like it's made out of pencil shavings. I like the Dark Knight, man. The Dark Knight
Yeah, that one.
Batsuit is pretty. That one looks like really tactical, really like functional. Lets you turn your head. Obviously, I like that one.
Not have to turn your whole upper torso.
Yeah, and then you don't have to do the Michael Keaton, like, you know what I mean?
What do you got?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I always like Solid Snake's get up from the first Metal Gear Solid. I just like the like grayed out with like the dark kind of like flak vest type thing that's got the big, it's kind of big collar on it. It's got like the elbow, probably actually not very comfortable thinking about it. But like the elbows and the knee pads, you know, like like the thigh holster, all that shit. He looks pretty dope. I don't know.
Dude,
I'd probably go with that.
I might even say, okay, I don't even know what to call this, but it's in Star Wars, and it's the red guys, like the all red outfits with like the electrical.
Oh,
you know
like the like Snoke's private guard or whatever. I'm sure they have a name.
Those are pretty sick.
Those guys are pretty cool. I'm not a huge Star Wars nut, but there are some pretty cool get-ups and stuff. Like obviously, like I would say that's probably the most cosplayed property out there.
Yeah.
I don't like stormtroopers. Stormtroopers are so lame to me. They're white, which right out of the gate is like not tactical at all, not tactically useful. You know what is really cool in Rogue One? At the very beginning, when they go to that dude's farm, who's kind of trying to hide out, there's these blacked out like special ops. Stormtroopers that look really, really cool. And they're actually like holding their blasters at like the low ready. Like they look like they know like what to do.
Not just a bunch of like scrub one shot kills.
Yeah. They went this way. Like, fuck off. I don't know. But yeah. Star Wars got some goodies and some baddies. All right. Thanks, cool boy. We'll come back to you in a second. This next one comes from Snakebite Pain. A very cool username. Retired U.S. Air Force here. What is the best overseas location you had the chance to visit? And one place you haven't been but want to go? And I know he's maybe thinking about like where I've been stationed or where I've been deployed to, but I know you have done a lot of overseas travel too, Cody. So we'll both take this one.
Sure, go ahead.
I am gonna say one of my favorite places I've ever been was Okinawa in Japan. That was a really, really cool place. Just I got to kind of walk around the streets around there and just kind of get a sense of what the culture is actually like. And I got to say, I would not be mad if that was my everyday situation. It's very, very cool in Japan and Okinawa specifically because it's a little more islandy vibes there.
Sure.
It's very tropical. So I would absolutely go back to Okinawa in a heartbeat.
Where do you want to go that you haven't?
Where do I want to go? I really, I've never really gotten to go anywhere in Europe and get out and walk around. So that's one. I really want to go to like Scandinavia or Norway, like Viking type land. I really want to go to one of those places and kind of just, I would love to have like a Skyrim Christmas one year, man. Just straight up like lots of snow, lots of like, seeing the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis type stuff. Yeah, I would definitely get down on like a Norwegian getaway.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. That's a good answer. I'd say my favorite that I've been would probably be where we went on our honeymoon, which was Italy, and we had a three stop little tour there. We did Venice, and Rome and Sorrento, which is kind of like on the Amalfi Coast. My favorite stop there was actually Venice, the city on water. It's really cool. It's really cool. Like the streets are water. It's boats instead of cars. And you can just walk anywhere and everywhere, and there's like something different around every corner. So Venice was really, 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 really cool. Where I want to go that I haven't would be Japan. That's been kind of my I don't know.
We just need to trade lives.
Number one.
I know. You've torn up Europe. I've been to Japan. We just trade up, man.
I want to go really bad, like Kyoto or Osaka, or even
Tokyo.
I'm blanking. What's the main, like the fucking
Tokyo?
Yeah, Tokyo. I want to see Mount Fuji. Like, I don't know, dude. There's something about like the cherry blossoms and something about Japan looks really, really magical to me. So hopefully I get a chance to go there one day.
Absolutely, man. Last one. Another one from Cool Boy. Back with us. I like this question. Made me happy. Cody, what are some moments you're looking forward to with your daughter? And then he asks, Chief, what are your favorite moments with your kids? Cody, what are you looking forward to, man? You got a couple months. You're gonna be a dad of a daughter.
It's coming up. It's very close.
Sneaking up.
Yeah. I feel like daddy-daughter dates once she gets a little older sound really cool.
Yeah.
I definitely, that's not unique to me. As far as like wanting to be, I don't know, just be the example of what a man should be in her life, And I feel like doing stuff like that will be really fun. Just kind of like some one-on-one, getting out and doing some fun stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, like when she gets a little older and starts, I don't know, maybe she loves an artist or whatever, and that artist is coming through and getting to take her to that show and actually let her see her or him or whoever they are, in real life. Something like that would be really cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
Even just seeing a little version of you and seeing what parts of like me she gets and what parts of her mom she gets, what mixture and habits, and just, I don't know, just kind of seeing like, I don't know, seeing what parts of me and her mom that she takes on, I think that'll be really cool. Just seeing a little version of you grow up. And I've heard everybody that you see a little bit of yourself, or maybe a lot of yourself in your kids,
You do.
And I imagine with you having, several, that you see a little bit different piece of you in each one of those kids. I imagine that's going to be really cool.
Absolutely, man. It's weird. Like, and at the same time, they're all their own unique person, and they, they incorporate pieces of you, but they all kind of learn to stand on their own and be their own thing. Sure. And that's awesome. But that first one for sure, like, that's like the best representation of like 50% you, 50% your wife. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, you scrutinize it and you see it a lot quicker with the first one, I think, than the other ones for sure.
Yeah. What about you? What was your part of that question? What do you say?
My favorite moments with my kids, really same thing, man. It's all the things you were talking about doing, like those one-on-one moments. It gets a little more challenging to spread the love when you got 4. There's definitely like, you kind of have to have a rotation in place. Sure. You got some kids who really, really thrive and really desire to have that one-on-one time with mom and dad, or mom or dad rather. And that goes, from boy to girl. So it's not really gender specific. And then you have other kids like, my younger son does not ask for or express like a desire or a need for those things. So when you spend one-on-one time with them, it's almost more of a treat for you than it is for them. He's appreciative, but that's just kind of not his affection language. So
yeah.
It really just depends on the kid. But yeah, anything from, sometimes if it's just, hey, I need to go to the hardware store. If you come, I'll let you get, some Sour Patch Kids or something,
yeah.
That kind of, being dad's helper is always kind of a cool thing that they run to. But yeah, with my older son, it's been anytime we get to like stay up late and kind of break the rules a little bit and play some video games. I haven't gotten to do that as much lately because we were all realizing that sleep is very much a priority for both of us. So, but those nights we do get to stay up and hang out and just kind of have that bond is really fun.
Yeah. I feel like we got a little bit of that. What was that, last weekend or the week before when you brought the boys down?
Yeah, last weekend. Stayed up and played some Roadblocks, man.
Heck yeah. A lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Didn't hate it.
Good question. I appreciate that question quite a bit.
Cool Boy 3010. Thanks for the questions, man. Hey, that's gonna do it for us this week. Hey, if we were off target at all on Dune 2, which is highly likely, let us know. Let us know what you thought of the movie in the comments. We definitely would love to hear what your thoughts are. Make sure, hey, like and subscribe if you're watching. If you're listening, give us a rating.
Heck yeah.
Give us
we got a few more.
Give us
on Spotify.
Itty bitty review.
A few more.
Keep them coming, baby. That bumsole Cody and Josh up in the queue shows us to more people. We love that. But hey, yeah, we're grateful to anyone who continues to listen. I feel like over the last couple of weeks, we've been starting to it's kind of making its way to us. Like, hey, we got a lot more weekly listeners than we maybe originally thought. So
yeah, definitely.
We appreciate that. But that's all I got. And I just want to wish all of you the most sincere Baja Blessings upon you. And I was gonna try to make a Dune joke about the Lisan Al Gaib or something. I don't know. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
See ya.